Hello, hello. Welcome back to A24 Quest with your hosts, Josh and Colin.
Welcome.
Today we'll be talking about Swiss Army Man and American Honey. Which would you like to start with, Colin?
I don't know. As always, my disclaimer this week is I didn't get the chance to watch Swiss Army Man because American Honey is 3 hours long. So, but I have seen Swiss Army Man several times before, so I'm more than confident I can talk about it. But
Should we just start there? Because we've talked in depth about Swiss Army Man before.
yeah, we've mini reviewed it multiple times. So let's just give the Cliff Notes version. It's really good.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's this bizarre humor, poop fart jokes all over the place, masturbation jokes.
Yeah.
But then it gets surprisingly super deep as it nosedives into what's wrong with society.
Yeah. And it's this kind of surreal juxtaposition of all the fart jokes and the just the heartfelt love story between Paul Dano and Harry Potter's corpse. It's truly touching. And the fact that it gets so touching is actually kind of a joke in itself too. Like that in itself is funny. But it's weird. It shouldn't work as well as it does, but it does.
Yeah, no, I completely agree.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal. Go watch it.
Absolutely.
I saw it in theaters. It was really stinking amazing.
Yeah, that was like my favorite theater experience, I think, is Swiss Army Man.
Just watching everyone around you, some looking in disgust, others laughing hysterically, others thinking deeply about their own lives and personal quarries, and you sitting there like, wow, this film, I tell you.
Yeah, it's a fantastic film.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. It's just beautiful from start to finish.
Yeah.
Great cinematography, phenomenal sound design. The soundtrack is amazing.
Oh, yeah.
The actors are all good.
Mary Elizabeth Winstead's in it.
Yeah, she's good.
I didn't even know she was in it.
For the little bit she was in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, go watch it for sure. I can easily say right now that that's my movie for these two.
Okay, sounds good. That's all we need. Episode's over.
Mm-hmm.
I think, okay, I'm really, really looking forward to talking about American Honey because I feel like we're going to butt heads a little bit on this because you pegged me as you thought I wouldn't like this at all. But joke's on you. I liked it.
Oh, bummer.
Kind of. Okay, so I think I know why you wouldn't think. I think I can see why you wouldn't think I would like this, and you're right. But
what? That didn't make any sense.
I think the reasons you would have thought I wouldn't have liked this, you're spot on. But despite that, I think the movie worked really well. And those reasons being there's a lot of teens, a lot of white trash, a lot of just obnoxious people. But it's kind of endearing in a weird way. It's like by the end of the movie, it's like, yeah, I kind of feel like this is my family. I feel attached to these characters.
I think you've been getting a little bit too attached. No, I didn't really like this movie. I thought the plot was mediocre.
Well, okay. I want to talk about. You have to listen to jazz. Do you ever listen to jazz, Josh?
I think I listen to more jazz than you do.
Okay, well then you're familiar with jazz. Basically, this I don't even know how to talk about it. It's difficult to talk about. This movie is like the cinematic equivalent of jazz in that it's so freeform and improvisational, and it's pretty good, unlike, like Ghostbusters. Yeah, that's my review.
It's like the new Ghostbusters.
The new Ghostbusters. It's like Ghostbusters 2016, but pretty good.
Never saw it.
All right. Okay, so this movie has absolutely no. Well, it's got a little bit of a structure and a little bit of a plot, but that plot is kind of difficult to nail down.
No, it's not. Let me go. All right, so you got this girl, right? Her name's Star. She has a family, 2 younger siblings, a younger girl and then an even younger brother. They live in this...
No. First of all, those are kids.
Step.
Those are her boyfriend.
I don't think that's her boyfriend.
Yeah, the guy that was...
Is that her boyfriend? Because I thought that was her dad.
You think so?
I thought so.
I saw it as a boyfriend. I thought that was those were his kids, and she's looking after them, and then, oh, maybe it was her mom. Maybe the girl at the club was her mom.
I think the girl at the club was her stepmom, and then divorced.
Oh, right, got it. I got.
That's why that first
idea.
scene, I was settling it in. I was like ready to watch this horrible movie that would hurt me.
Right. Okay, so it's even more messed up.
Yeah. So she's got, in my view of the movie, she's got 2 younger step siblings that live in this awful trailer where the dad, I assumed the dad, was sexually abusing her and assuming that he was going to do the same to the other younger girl when she got maybe a little older or when the older one left. I don't know. And we never find out. They're scavenging for food and supplies and whatnot. They get back home. He tries to abuse her. She's kind of had enough of it. They sneak out the window, all the kids. She huddles all the kids away. They go to a hoedown bar disco thing where they find the mother of at least one of the 2 kids, if not both of the 2 younger kids. And she's like, you gotta take care of your kids. Your ex is being insane. And then she's like, I'm going to go to the bathroom. And then she just runs out the door.
Yeah. And this is like white trash central. I don't know where this takes place.
Oh, for sure.
The dad, I guess, has a Confederate flag hanging on the wall, and he's just terrible.
Yeah.
And this hoedown bar is just like, there's the most, I mean, I don't want to be derogatory, but just the most disgusting people imaginable. Or the mom, the woman there, it's just like not a pleasant person, and it's just like this really awful situation to be in. She just runs away, and I was like, good on you.
And joins Shia LaBeouf in a white van.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then that's basically the rest of the movie.
That's almost
them,
the whole movie.
Them going on a road trip in the white van.
Yeah, she becomes a magazine salesperson, like one of those pyramid magazine schemes.
Yeah.
Where she gives all of her money to this kind of head lady who's pimping all of them out to go sell magazines.
Yeah.
And the head lady's right-hand man is Shia LaBeouf, who she falls in love with, and Shia LaBeouf falls in love with her too. And then Shia LaBeouf gets in trouble. Oh, no, can't be falling in love. Kicks him out. Boom. Out he goes. He's gone. And she's like, oh, dang. But then she stays on with the magazine crew because she got nowhere else to go. And then Shia LaBeouf comes back, and she's like, oh, great. And that's it. No mention of any sort of past. There's a little bit of longing in her eyes at one point towards a kid who's sitting in a ditch. But yeah, I thought the plot was mediocre as hell.
So here's where I feel like your here's where I think your opinion's irrelevant, because sorry I hold on, let me collect myself. Here's where I think you're not wrong. The plot is definitely very paper thin, but this is the epitome of a movie that is not even the slightest bit about the plot. Like, this is and here's my favorite thing about the movie is also its greatest weakness, and that it is a experience movie. It's like it really does feel like just this realistic life experience that you're just a part of, and it's like things don't make sense, things don't have to make sense, and you're just along for the ride. And yeah, it's not about any sort of story. It's just about the things they see and the things they experience. And if you just sit back, just go along with it, and don't really expect it to be a narrative-driven movie, because it absolutely is not. It's a very... sobering experience, and it's a very stark look at like American life, and it's very, very interesting in that regard. But I don't want to watch it again because there's no reason to. Once you experience it, that's about it.
Have you ever seen March of the...
Yes.
Have you ever seen March of the Penguins?
I have.
This movie is just March of the Penguins again, but with more derogatory slurs.
Sure.
and white trash people.
Yeah.
It's just there's not a whole lot of interesting stuff happening. It's just life without a good story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't find
it's a faux mockumentary almost, where it's the definition of a slice of life movie where there's no overarching story. It's just an experience.
Maybe if I didn't live in America and didn't know white trash as well as I do, and I didn't realize that this stuff already happens, I would have been more interested, but it's pretty simple. Like, in my life, I knew all of this stuff already. I felt like this was just another person saying, hey, you remember this? And I'm like, yeah.
Well, and it's like, I don't even think it was even trying to be that. I don't think it was trying to be like this is shedding a light on what America's really like. I think it truly was just a meandering slice of life movie that's just about the feelings it evokes, and there's no plot, there's no point. And that may sound like a bad thing, and some would consider it a bad thing, but amazingly, it's something I actually really enjoy. I like movies that are more about emotion and and just this mental vibe
and that's where I run into an issue, is because the only emotion I got out of it was in the very beginning where the dad was molesting his daughter. Like, that was the closest I got to actually feeling anything in this movie, because the rest of it was just boring nonsense that I didn't achieve any emotion out of any of it.
Well, and I suppose that is subjective because there's a lot of very complicated emotions I was struggling with in the movie, wrestling with, and it may be, I guess a criticism is it didn't really come to a satisfying conclusion. But then again, a movie like this, wouldn't. I mean, this movie's not about being satisfying at all. It's a, like I said, there's no real narrative drive. It's just kind of it ended the only way it could have ended, just kind of, and then they continued and credits roll.
I'm fine with the ending, actually. I think that the story was so weak that there was nothing.
Well, yeah, and it's here. This is the kind of movie where I can't really defend it that much, because some people need a story to get invested. Like, I myself, I could care less about storytelling. And if you like movies that prioritize just like feelings and emotion, and the cinematography was pretty, but it wasn't really this focus. If you just like it like a mood piece, then
I like mood pieces. I just didn't find any mood in this. Like, I knew what it was trying to do, but I thought it was kind of lazy and not well done.
Well, yeah, you're free to think that. Yeah. But you know what? I'm just so laid back today. I don't know. I just really liked it.
All right.
I do think it was well done. I was often thinking how tight the directing is, especially considering that nobody in this movie is a professional actor. 90% of it was improvised on the spot, and yet it feels coherent. She picked up all the director, Andrea something. She picked up all these actors like in like Walmart parking lots and like auditioned them on the spot. And they really just went on a road trip, and they just kind of figured it out as it went along, and it feels like that. And I think given that, the fact that this movie wasn't written so much as it was improvised, given that, I think she did a great job. Because I could still make out an intelligible story, and I could still feel, engrossed, despite the random improvisational nature of this movie. Which, good on her. I don't think I would have been able to keep this together as well as she did, so...
Yeah,
I think it was very well made. Given what it is. And what it isn't a traditional movie. And if you're a traditionalist and you're in your story above all and you want like a structured, well-mannered cinematic experience, it's not at all going to appeal to that type of person. But if you like more subtle, I guess I'd call this like an art piece, but it's a very, very subtle art piece. Yeah, if you like that kind of thing. If you liked a ghost story but wish it had more white trash and it was a road trip movie. Yeah.
No, I liked A Ghost Story way better than this. I disagree.
Well, I'm trying to think of the nearest equivalent of the type of movie where it's not about a plot, it's about a emotional journey. I don't know.
March of the Penguins.
Sure. But yeah, so
You just watch some penguins for 2.5 hours.
yeah. But that's a nature documentary. This is also a nature documentary.
Same thing.
About, yeah.
This one's just about white trash.
Basically, yeah. And it's yeah, no, I just really liked it.
And here in the van we see one white girl getting it on with one white guy. It is real amazing as he just towers over her.
Mm. I liked the scene where the naked guy fights the other guy.
Yeah, you like that one?
Yeah. That's like the point where the movie hits like peak, like it's heightened reality and it's getting kind of surreal, and I was like, that's really cool. I don't know. Because it felt like dreamlike, and it's like I've had nights where that, but like that, where you're just outside in the nighttime and there's like a fire and there's just some crazy stuff happening around you, and you're just like, man, this feels unreal. I could relate to it. I've never fought somebody while butt naked around a fire,
But I've seen it.
I've seen it.
I don't know. I didn't relate to this movie. I didn't have any emotional attachments to it other than like the first 5 minutes. So 3 hour long movie of stuff I really didn't care about and I already knew, and I could have guessed where this movie was going, which the answer is nowhere. From the first 10 minutes. So
Yeah.
it really made the rest of the movie not fun to watch.
Yeah, and I blatantly think you aren't the correct target audience for this movie, and you kind of had the wrong expectations about it, because it's
especially when it started out so strong.
It's
loved
not
the way it started.
It's not supposed to be going anywhere, and maybe I'm just being too forgiving about it because it just had a specific vibe that I really liked, but I thought it was great. Maybe not like one of my favorite A24 movies, and like I said, it's so about the journey that like I don't think I'd find any satisfaction in watching it again. So I probably gonna avoid seeing it again, but I enjoyed what I did,
And I don't think it's about the journey because I don't think the journey was worth going.
Well, all right. If I'm being honest with you, if I had to pick a movie this week, I would pick American Honey. And it's not Swiss Army Man's fault. Swiss Army Man's great, but it's just I've seen it so many times. American Honey is like new and interesting to me, so it's just right now I'm feeling American Honey. I would recommend giving it a watch to see what you think. If you think it is just kind of meandering and pointless.
Well, it definitely is meandering. Pointless is up for debate.
Yeah, well, it is meandering, but my argument is that that's by design, and it's not really.
I don't think it's by design. I think it's by mistake that it's meandering. I think that, they made it the way they did, and it's clearly going to be meandering because of that, but I don't think it was on purpose.
You just said it was on purpose,
no,
but you don't think it was on purpose.
That there wouldn't be another way that movie could be made without it being meandering, but I don't think they did that on purpose.
I absolutely think they did. I think they knew what they were getting into. I mean, I suppose it does follow a script. I mean, it absolutely follows a script, but it's like I just don't think that they were really down for crafting a strong traditional narrative. I think they're just kind of let's just shoot some stuff.
You know what really kind of nailed this whole thing home for me not enjoying it?
Yeah.
Like the quiet sentimental scenes were so obvious and obnoxious in your face that it irritated the living daylight out of me. When she sees the kid sitting in the ditch, I'm like, oh wow, she's contemplating a friggin' decision of leaving the kids. So smart. Wow. You know, it felt way too in my face.
See, the thing is, that's a thing that happens in real life. Every once in a while, you just kind of, you get introspective over the littlest things. And it's like, I didn't think a bit of it felt unrealistic. I mean, maybe some of the banter between Shia LaBeouf and Star felt,
Oh, that was obnoxious.
it felt a little unrealistic, but it's like, for the most part,
I didn't like his character at all.
well, I don't think you were supposed to. I think he
You
was a
don't think so?
pretty unlikable guy. Yeah.
No, I think
mean,
he was
it's-
supposed to be liked. I don't see where he was unlikable.
I mean, everything he did in the movie, there's no way a sane person wrote that character and said, yeah, people are going to sympathize with this guy. Because he's just a jerk, and he messes everything up. It's like
He doesn't even mess anything up.
He totally does when she's making that sale with those cowboys, and then he just rolls in and starts shooting. And it's like she was making a legitimate sale, and he came in and stole their car. Later, well, what else is there? Actually, she messed things up first, and then he started messing things up because he's just crazy and a loose cannon.
I don't think anybody in this movie was likable that much, though. I didn't like anybody.
No, me neither. Honestly, I like I said, it's
not true. I like the little kids.
It's a rare example of a movie where I didn't like the characters, but like I didn't feel like that was a big issue because it's like it is like a nature documentary. You're just observing these creatures in their natural domain, and it's just like, wow, that's fascinating.
That kid in the very beginning stabbing that chicken.
Sure.
That weird. I don't know. That did something to me.
Yeah.
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 There were some weird things going on there.
I liked that girl that was really into Dead Kennedys.
Yeah.
That scene was great. The scene where she finds the kids, and then it's like my mom's sleeping, and then she goes and looks at the mom at the end of the scene, and she's got like a meth pipe, and it's like, oh my god. It's like it's that kind of visceral portrayal of poverty that Florida Project did really well. And I was just saying to Josh before this, I think this movie was like Florida Project, but a little more hard hitting for me. I mean, Florida Project was good, but I think this was a lot more watchable. So yeah. I don't think this is a better movie than Florida Project. It's just it was more my speed. Because Florida Project didn't feel as visceral and real to me.
That's another one that's kind of meandering.
Sort of, but Florida Project feels more like a movie. Maybe it's the fact that Willem Dafoe's in there, like a respected actor.
Yeah,
it feels more movie-esque.
What about Shia LaBeouf? He's not a respected actor.
No, not really. I mean, see, the thing is, it's like, yes, he's a recognizable actor, but you could tell me that this is just how Shia spends his days, and I'd believe you.
I mean, yeah, me too.
Like, he was method acting hard. That's the reason he's been so crazy, is he was just preparing for this role.
It's all just one big excuse.
Yeah, whereas I look at Willem Dafoe, and I'm like, he's doing a great job acting, but he is clearly acting. Maybe that's why I preferred this movie, because it feels real, whereas the Florida Project, it also feels real. Not to downplay the Florida Project. Florida Project's a great film, but me personally, I think I enjoyed watching this a little more. But that's my own personal taste, you know? It's a good film.
It's alright.
Good time.
It's not worth it.
A lot of unlikable characters, but unlike the Florida Project, it was actually easy to watch somehow.
It's right there in the middle. It's not awful. It's not good. It's fine.
Okay. Well, that's my pick for A24 Quest. I assume you picked Swiss Army Man.
Yes.
I don't
Swiss.
know.
All the way.
I don't know what I would rate this movie. Probably like 7, 8, around there. I think that's what I gave Florida Project.
I'd probably go with like 4, 4.5.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
So I liked it. Josh didn't. Good one. Okay, we don't often really disagree on movies. The last one I think would be Remember, right? We had a big old debate about Remember.
Yeah, because I thought Remember was kind of dumb too.
Yeah, I enjoyed Remember. I think this is much better than Remember. Remember, I just felt like being lenient. This one, I don't feel like...
I disagree. I like Remember better than this.
This one, I didn't feel like I had to be lenient. I felt like this is a quality film, and I enjoyed it.
No, I like Remember better than this.
This has got like an 8.0 on Metacritic, so you're wrong.
Oh yeah, because Metacritic knows everything.
Yeah,
You better believe it.
you're incorrect, buddy.
Great. Just
No,
because some film snobs liked watching a pretty movie.
Oh yeah. No, you're allowed to dislike it. Everybody's allowed to like or dislike whatever they want, unless they liked Ghostbusters 2016, in which case they're just historically inaccurate. They're on the wrong side of history. In history books, the passage about Ghostbusters 2016 is going to be like a film that nobody liked. And those people that did like it, they'll be like, well, I feel like a fool now.
You know, I don't know a lot of people that have said this, but I've heard from some, at least over the interwebs, that it wasn't awful.
No.
It shouldn't have been a Ghostbusters movie.
It's
but
awful.
as a solid movie, it's supposed to be just all right.
It's awful.
Really?
It's terrible.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Just front to back?
It's just full on terrible.
Really?
I think part of it is, it's a fair point. It will see. Here's the thing: if it were just a generic Sony comedy, it would have been bad. I mean, it's not good even for generic Sony comedy.
You hate generic Sony comedies anyway.
Well, yeah. I hate it because my opinion's correct and everybody else doesn't know what they're talking about.
Keep talking.
Yeah.
Keep digging that hole.
I'm kidding. No, in my opinion, if it were a Sony comedy, it would have been bad. But the fact that it's a Ghostbusters is just a slap in the face to real screenwriters who make real scripts. You know, it's like Ghostbusters. You don't do that to Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is a real movie. It was expertly crafted. And to slap the Ghostbusters name on something like that is just an insult. And this film should be burned.
From what I've heard, once again, just what I've heard over the internet.
Sure.
So nothing reliable, of course. I heard that the 4 female leads actually had a lot of input on the script itself and did a lot of work on it. So it doesn't sound like it was necessarily just slapped together.
That's the problem. It's the fact that it was so heavily improvised. Now, these comedians, they do SNL comedy, right? And they improvise every scene. The problem with that is every scene just feels like an improv session, right? And it's not particularly great improv because they had to pick the most like movie friendly takes. But nothing feels natural. It doesn't feel like a real movie. It feels like a feature-length SNL skit. And maybe some people like that, but like Ghostbusters is like a brilliantly written comedy. It has writers behind it. You know, Ghostbusters 2016, it was not written, it was just improvised. Which is why I compare it to our movie, whatever, American Honey, because it's the same deal. I mean, it was probably an outline script was written, but it mostly improvised. Which is okay for a movie like American Honey. It's not okay for a movie like Ghostbusters, where you have such a big legacy to live up to. You know, like one of the most smart, like intelligently written comedies ever is the original Ghostbusters, you know.
Yeah, I'm in the boat that it shouldn't have been touched, but I, once again, haven't seen the new Ghostbusters, so I don't know.
All right. Well, see it and get back to me.
I probably won't.
Well, hope you enjoyed this episode A24 Quest and our Ghostbusters debate.
Yeah.
Our next two movie. Oh, hold on. I had it pulled up here. Never mind.
Pulled up here.
I closed the tab.
Okay.
So we're gonna get that up for you real quick.
Oh my God, we were so ready.
Yeah.
What have you done?
I don't know. I just thought I didn't need to. Well, I know what my movie is. I'm just trying to see what the next movie is. The next required movie. Okay, it's called Equals. You hear that? Can you hear me over here, microphone? It's Equals.
We're watching Equals.
Guy Pearce.
Kristen
Stewart.
Okay.
Nicholas Hoult.
I was hoping for Cage, but that's fine.
In this gripping and emotional sci-fi romance from acclaimed director Drake Doremus, and I haven't heard of him. Not that acclaimed.
Okay.
Not that acclaimed. A society known as the Collective. Whatever, I don't care.
Okay.
We're seeing Equals, everybody.
Not that acclaimed.
I've never heard of him. I don't know.
Oh, I know.
I like to think I know a fair amount of directors. I've never heard of this guy.
Just the way you said it. Not that acclaimed.
Yeah.
Oh,
and my pick is something that just looks interesting to me. It's called Woodshock. It's the feature film debut of a pair of fashion designers, and the description hails it as like this like surreal, dreamlike, just psychedelic movie, which is exactly what I like. So I should probably find some enjoyment out of it, hopefully. So this is one of those mystery weeks. We have no clue what we're getting into, because we would like to stress we're running out of movies.
Well, I mean, we got 20-some left.
Yeah, but I'm picking Woodshock because I am out of movies that I want to see in the A24 lineup. All the movies that are left are movies I've never heard of. So we're approaching like the semi-end game when it comes to this series, which is super exciting because it means we can move on to bigger things. Like instead of all A24 movies, we'll just do all movies, period.
Yeah, starting from numbers.
Yeah.
Going to A, then all the way down to Z.
I was thinking chronological. We can go the
okay.
first motion picture, which is probably like 10 seconds long, and then
we can do that too.
We can review that. It's probably a picture of like a dude.
How long do you think it would take to just get to 1980?
Probably 2026, roughly.
If we were watching 24/7?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Probably the amount of time from 1890 whatever to 1986.
Yeah.
So like roughly 100 years.
Yeah.
Well, so yeah, see us for Equals and Woodshock. Two movies that I have no clue what we're in for, so it should be a treat. I actually really like those weeks when I haven't heard of either of the movies, because it's always a fun time.
It's always a mystery.
It is a mystery. What I like to do is like not look up a whole lot about either movie, and just like don't look up critical reception or everything. Just watch it blind.
Yeah.
That's always really fun, because you don't get an opportunity to watch movies that you know nothing about very often. And it's
unless you're me and I just don't pay attention to anything for the most part.
Fair, yeah.
And then you watch movies like Lord of the Rings, and then you go to people and you're like, have you heard of this movie called Lord of the Rings? It's amazing.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's like, do you need help?
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
Well,
that's my life.
Yeah.
That's the majority of what I do.
Yeah. Well, see, I've got borderline like OCD levels of like I just need to know things.
Is it good? Is it really?
Well, one thing okay, sorry, this isn't the real podcast, so I'm just gonna cut it off here. Thank you for watching A24 Quest. I was just about to like launch into this whole discussion.
Great.
All right. Let's go record the real podcast so we can talk about real things.
We'll be back next week with Equal.
Goodbye.
And Woodshop.
Hold on. Let me just get over here.
Yeah.